9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Here's your career affirmation. You're going to rock that interview and get that job. Happy Thursday. I can't believe it is September 1st, which is the beginning of what feels like we're cruising to the end of the year. Can you believe it? My daughter and I were talking about the fact that I think it's like less than 120 days until the new year, which is crazy that we are, rounding the corner to close out 2022, which is nuts. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Amanda, thank you for being here. Ronette is here. The amazing Tina is here. Of course, Dan is here. Elizabeth is here. I feel so loved and supported. Dan, I tried to call you a minute ago, but your notifications are still off since it's early. So I'm Anna Morgan, your career BFF, recruiter by day, job strategy coach by night. And I am here today for AMA, which is Ask Me Anything. And this conversation may take a couple different twists and turns this afternoon. I still want to keep it in a reasonable time frame. I did have one unique question that did come in, so I want to address that because it's a great question and it will be in service of anyone else that is here and what they may be curious about. So I am going to grab that, and I would love to hear, the temperature on how people are doing in the comments. I know there has been a lot of other, layoff announcements, which has been really to see. And I just wanted to take a pulse on how everyone's doing. My internet was kind of funny there for a minute. So let me make sure we're all back on track. Okay, I think we are. Yay. I was like, what is happening here? So, all right, let me get back on track. This is the Ask Me Anything week of the Career BFF live series. And I had a question come in that says the following. With direct feedback from recruiters to candidates being limited at times, by several factors. Would it be appropriate / frowned upon to ask for more details on how you became to be selected as a candidate during the interview, and maybe even how that compares to what the recruiting team is looking for? So I'm going to grab this text and put it in the comments. And if you all have any insights or want to jump in the conversation, that would be awesome. But I have a couple thoughts as a recruiter on this question because I think it's really powerful. So, in my career as a recruiter, at one point, the feedback came from a very toxic and bully boss, she told me that I gave too much feedback. And from an HR talent leader perspective, I know that she was probably coming from a place of compliance and liability and risk because that's an important part. And people and organizations can get sued for a variety of things. But she told me that, just send the thanks but no thanks message and keep the feedback to a minimum. And that was really so hard for me because I believe in communicating and providing feedback. And especially if I have been the person that's taking someone through that process and it's been multiple interviews and I've built a relationship with them. So that's where a little bit of my rebel side showed up through that process. But to answer this question, one, I would recommend one of the most powerful ways to get this information in regards to feedback and really truly what the hiring team is looking for is actually going to come from your networking and your ability to get access to people that work in the department or have the current job that you're applying for, or somehow collaborate with that department and have more of an inside view into that perception of quality. So if you're not trying to get those conversations started before you're in active interview process, that is a strategy that I have used myself that has paid dividends. So when you're in the interview process, obviously the recruiter sits with the hiring team and goes through why the position is open, what is important to them, what are the absolutes, nice to haves, priorities in that role, right? So the recruiter should have this knowledge. And as you get past the recruiter screen and then get into these, comprehensive interviews with the decision makers, I do believe asking thoughtful questions at the end of the interview to ask, what was your interview experience as you went through this process? What is a common thread among the high performers and the people that have been successful on your team in the past? So then that way, one, you're allowing them to tell a story about, the rock stars on their team and get those little gems and nuggets of, what that hiring manager sees as the high currency for the position. And then it allows you to really focus on selling into those same things that you have. So is it appropriate to ask for details, how they became to be selected during the interview process? A curious question would be, how did you come across ABC company in this position? Or how did you get into risk or accounting or marketing? How did you know that this was the career path that you wanted to focus on? So really making it relatable and a curious question. I believe if you have passed an interview screen and you're at the table in the interview process, at this point, you've earned the right to ask some of those curious questions. All right, so Elizabeth says, so here's the question again that we're discussing. And then Elizabeth said, as a transitioning educator, the layoffs can look a bit scary, plugging away. Love to see that. Lydia says, lack of feedback on the official selection process can make it hard to know what to improve upon. Totally understand that. And then Lydia said, I've been told that a negative response to feedback is a reason for a particular ed company no longer gave feedback. Interesting. So, and this is actually like leads nicely into some other things that I wanted to talk about today. A lot of this like Dear Recruiter content that you're seeing on LinkedIn, where recruiters are, calling out, or not recruiters, job seekers are calling out recruiters for ghosting or lack of transparency or things falling through the cracks, has seemed to be quite. I've seen quite a rise in this kind of content, and kind of pulling back and kind of looking at the scenario from a blurred place, or like blurred lines kind of intuitive space. To me, it feels like a mental health concern, an issue. And we go through this process, this evolution of being in a space of this job transition, whether it's coming out of education or experiencing the layoff or being long-term unemployed or working in a toxic environment. And it is literally permeating all the areas of our lives. And it's dulling our light. And we're getting in the space of panic. And a lot of times it can exacerbate other problems. And, I've been in this space of coaching and recruiting for a while now, and I've done some deep reflection. And I realize, why I'm so attracted to doing this work with job seekers and career changers is that I've been there too. And I pick up on the emotional twist and the pain and the frustration and the angst that comes with trudging the road to their happy destiny. And I share openly about some of my life experiences and my journey. And it really ties back into this work. And I've had some epiphanies around, why I show up in the way that I do to be of service to job seekers and career changers. And it's because like people gave me hope, right? I'm getting emotional, Dan. I think about how powerless it feels to want to be seen and understood and wanted. And that's how I was before I got sober. I had no idea who I was. I was broken. I was a chameleon. I was a people pleaser. I was a drunk. I was a drug addict. I was a horrible person. But I asked for help. And I saw women and men that were living their best life, but in this kind of spiritual place where they believed in me until I could believe in myself. So they believed in me until I could believe in myself. And I realized as I've gone through this process, working with people and coaching and changing people's lives by getting them positions, that's the result, is that I give away what was so freely given to me. And I've been putting on different jackets and personas, even in this evolved state of being free of my addiction for over 10 years. And now I'm like stepping into this new place of a higher connection with my purpose, and my highest self. And so much more is being revealed about how this work and this journey that I've been through as a human of getting clean and being a career BFF to myself and coming home to myself relates to what my clients and what happens along this job search journey. And in all the office hours and the one-on-one sessions and all the candidates, I mean, thousands and thousands of people I've met and interacted with. And I've always been that person that people tell me things like they go deep and fast. And that's kind of my brilliance. And I, in essence, have been hiding that from a lot of you because I was scared of rejection. Just like you may be scared of sharing yourself on LinkedIn or making a bold statement because you're afraid that that hiring manager is not going to think that you fit in this perfect little box. And I'm coming to this place to realize that it's when we push this edge and completely surrender to kind of what the universe has in store for us, then that's where things start to open. And that's where we start to build this foundation of what's possible. And so I'm going to start sharing more of this side of me as we go through this process because I realize, Career BFF and my vibe and my brand, it's about the true underdog. It's about the career misfit. It's about connecting with those that have a similar story to me that, had some stuff. And these experiences are what make us who we are. And sometimes, a lot of the times, I feel like those of us that have overcome some of the greatest hurdles tend to be some of the greatest healers and the visionaries and the challengers for change. And it's this whole principle of like, if not now, when? I mean, we're only here for a certain amount of time. And if I can be that person to motivate someone to say hell yes to themselves, it ignites that ripple effect to keep saying heck yes to myself and keeps going on into the universe and giving people additional hope. And that's why we're all here, to support each other and build community and not be ashamed of the trips and the trials and the tribulations, because that's how we grow forward. That's how we expand. That's why I'm a really good recruiter now, because I made so many mistakes earlier in my career. And I want to continue to share these stories in a way that is inspiring and brings hope and is in service of helping to solve the emotional twist of what happens when we go through advocating for ourselves in a promotion or in an extended job search. And you're not alone. And so many of us have been on the other side. And, I lost this woman, Faye. She was my best friend in recovery. And she's with me all the time. She keeps tapping me on the shoulder and says, speak your truth. Tell your story. Don't be afraid. But of course I'm afraid. I'm a misfit. I've been told that I wasn't right, that I was too much, that I was not enough, that I didn't fit in the freaking traditional boxes that mainstream schools had. And I came into corporate and I asked too many questions, and, the list goes on. And I know my journey when I have gotten when I've hit these bottoms where like enough is enough, insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. When I finally just let go and I said, universe, let's go, show me the way and help me be my best self. And I admitted that I was like powerless over all of it. And then I had faith. I believed that if I took care of myself and I did this inner work, the inner work is what leads us to be able to find that equanimity, that balance, and the opportunities that are aligned and that will give us and support us with everything that we need. So yeah, I know how to put a resume together. Yes, I know how to talk about freaking salary negotiations. Yes, I know how to guide you through dealing with every kind of recruiter. You know what? But where I create the biggest transformation for people is when they're willing to turn the mirror and do the radical honesty work with themselves to understand where they've been, what happened, what it was like, and where they want to go next. And I'm on this journey with you because now that I'm at 10 plus years, it's not about just not picking up a drink or a drug or being an a-hole. It's about like this emotional sobriety. It's a next level evolution. And the biggest message I had through my friend Faye's death was I am fully ready and strong enough to take these types of messages into the world, and that I no longer have to be afraid. So here we are. Okay, I haven't looked at the comments because I'm kind of terrified. So a career BFF, is someone who can go through this process and then give it away to someone else that is a catalyst for reflection, for growth, for healing, for a way to be of service to the greater good. Because again, going back to what was so freely given to me, my sister said to me when I was at the doorstep of divorce, I was over drinking. I had a young daughter at the time. I mean, by the grace of God, she does not remember me drinking. Thank God. She said, go get help, go to this community, and they will love you until you can love yourself. And that so deeply resonated, even though I was so sick. I was so sick and tired. I was so lost. I just needed someone to love me and see me. I mean, I had a loving spouse and I had loving parents, but this was like a different kind of acceptance. And this is the kind of community and like vibration that I want to create, that I just want to, again, it could be idealistic. I don't care. I want to create a movement and a place where we can love each other until they can love themselves while doing that inside job work so that we attract that abundance and beautiful energy and opportunities that we deserve, and find our tribe. I love hanging out with the drug addicts, the alcoholics, the people that have been in jail, people that are willing to share their stories. And so things may look a little different coming in the future, but having awesome people in my corner, like Dan Roth, Amanda, the whole Job Connection Tuesday or the collective now, it's been a journey, right? Just like you are going through this journey of trying to, find, is customer success the right thing for you, or is operations, or is ed tech, where we are going to find those answers is when we start to look at ourselves. Where did we come from? What were our parents all about? what are some of the highs and lows through this process? It tells a story as to why we are the way we are. And we take all of ourselves to work. And this is, as I stand and sit before you today talking about, I've been hiding this side of me. And that's where it's come across, because what is Anna? She's a career BFF. Yeah, she's got this knowledge with recruiters and resumes and whatever. But the magic is in standing in this power and being able to speak in this way and not hide from it anymore, because this is who I am. I love to talk about recovery, and there's a way to recover from your job search journey, like admitting that you're powerless over this process and that it's become unmanageable. There is a way to believe that you can find alignment both personally and professionally, turn it all over and surrender in faith that the universe will provide this alignment, and then you start to take action. And what does that action look like? A career inventory, clarity, finding people to support you and keep you honest and call you on your stuff, right? And then looking at our past, right? What is this inventory? What does this story truly tell us? As guidepost on how to move forward. And then it's also going through this process of healing and releasing the old ways that we were doing things. Again, sanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And I know so many of you are sick and tired of being sick and tired on this job search journey. So I'm Anna Morgan, and I'm a freaking alcoholic, and I'm a career misfit, and I am a career BFF, and I can't believe I have shared all this today. But you know what? Faye's with me, and she said she was a bossy New Yorker. And I know that if I don't walk this path and share these stories and be in service of this way, that I'm dimming my light. And my job here on this earth is to inspire, share hope, and believe in you until you can believe in yourself. See you next week.